Hey guys, welcome to Slacker Gaming, where all slackers can game. If you are not already a part of the community, then hit that red subscribe button to become part of Slacker Nation. I've gotten a lot of questions on my stream lately about how I pitch and how well I pitch. How do I keep so many teams to low run scored, whether it be on Diamond Dynasty with human players, or whether it be against computer players and stuff on when you're playing your March to October, your game modes like that. So I'm going to give you guys a few tips on what I do when pitching that will give me the upper hand on anybody that I play. If you like to watch that, stick around. So I want to show you guys the first thing I do, and that is to go into custom practice. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here with our team. Doesn't really matter. Any of this stuff doesn't really matter. You can kind of do whatever you want to do. And we're going to start a practice. And the reason why I like to do practices is if you saw my first video this week on Tuesday, I went in and did practice very first thing with my hitting, and I'm doing the same thing with my pitching, and that's mostly because you need to be able to hit the strike zone. You need to be able to kind of warmed up in a sense and practiced up, and that's exactly what you're going to do. So you're going to set up whether you're going to be pitching. We will do no repeat play. Doesn't really matter because we're going to be throwing and we want to see what we're doing. You're going to pick a pitcher that you want to throw with and hit with Singer, and then we're just going to start it off with Hernandez here as a hitter, and we're just going to go through the hitters and stuff like that. Whether we want a person on base, sure, let's put a person on second, why not? And then we're going to get started with it. And what we're going to do this for is so that we can hit our spots. We can make sure that we're used to the pitcher throwing. If you're throwing with a pitcher on Diamond Dynasty and you're really struggling to hit these spots with him, then come into practice and just practice with him. Learn to throw with him, and it will definitely be better in the end. If you want to know what I'm using for my pitching difficulty, come in here to the options, gameplay, and right now I'm pitching with pure analog. I'm pitching on Hall of Fame, which I will kind of show you what this means right now. But Hall of Fame is what I pitch on usually, and that's kind of what I stick on. Sometimes I go up to Legend when I'm playing well, but sometimes it just Hall of Fame is all I need. What I use is the pure analog. I use the pitch feedback on, pitcher view. This stuff is all up to you, kind of what you feel like. Pitcher confidence, you won't really have control over that or anything like that. I used to use meter. I've used pulse before, but I feel like pure analog gives you the best chance at throwing more accurately. And so what you're going to do with pure analog, you're going to pick your pitch, and then you're going to go straight down and up and to kind of where you're throwing it. So if you're throwing to the outside, see that the little aim icon up here, how it's moving back and forth? You're going to actually press the analog stick up to that direction. So if you go in, you're going to put that analog stick up, and if you're late, it'll be a little off, and that's how you kind of pitch. There's other tutorials out there that will show you exactly how to pitch, how to do it. I like to warm up and kind of get up to Hall of Fame Legend difficulty, and the reason I do that is because I want to learn how to hit my spots on the easiest difficulty before going up to the hardest. And then I also want to be able to back that down and learn how to throw by backing that down. So we learn how to throw on this difficulty, and now we're going to up it to Legend, and now we're going to try it on Legend, because this is going to make it harder to throw perfect pitches, harder to throw good pitches. Your guy will be a little less accurate and stuff like that. And once you can learn to throw on these harder difficulties, the better you will be in online and against the computer and all that stuff. And the reason I kind of say it like that is because you learn how to throw on the hardest difficulty, right? And then it's the same thing with that I did with hitting. Then you back it off. It's going to be much easier to throw when you're throwing against a rookie or you're throwing against something like that. So that's my first piece of advice is to throw and get used to throwing on a very hard difficulty, something that you struggle with. It doesn't have to be Legend. It doesn't have to be a legend. It just needs to be something that you struggle with and that you feel like it's hard to pitch on. And then we're going to go into the game. And when we are actually into the game, you won't be playing on this difficulty. You'll be playing on like All-Star, sometimes Hall of Fame. So you'll come in and stuff will be so much easier to pitch. The next thing I am going to teach you is kind of how this works on computer as well as it does in real life baseball. And that is your pitching selection in counts while still doing location. Now, to kind of break this down easier, most people enjoy a high fastball. It looks good to the hitter. It looks good for players online. They say, oh, easy home run. Problem is, can they catch up with it? And that's kind of where you run into it. So you don't always have to throw fastballs up. I would suggest not throwing all fastballs up. I would take it slowly, see what the hitter's doing, see what the hitter sees. If a hitter swings at a lot of high fastballs, like if you're throwing fastballs up here that are clearly out of the zone and they're still swinging for it, it might be something you kind of throw more often. But I wouldn't just sit high fastball all the time. You gotta sprinkle your low fastballs in as well. But what you want to watch for is see where they're hitting it. If they're behind it, if they're in front of it, chances are most of the time they're going to be behind it. And you're going to look at the bottom left very early on that one because it was down and outside. His PCI just wasn't on it. So try a fastball high and inside. This is going to give you kind of the best, I guess, where they're at as far as hitting. So there he was just early. So this guy's just early on fastballs right now. That one, he was late. He also didn't have his PCI on it. So just kind of look at that stuff and then read off your hitter. That was too far inside, so he likes chasing that high fastball. So now you're going to know all game, and he might adjust during the game. I mean, just like you would adjust while you're hitting. He might adjust during the game and start hitting those high fastballs, but it's a pitch that is very difficult to hit, and that's probably the pitch that everyone struggles with the most. So you kind of want to test that out in early game, see where he's at, see if he can catch up to it. The other thing is going to be the breaking balls down. If they're chasing a lot of breaking balls down in the zone, then that's good. That means that they're not seeing that low breaking ball down in the zone. Some people don't see low pitches at all, so even throwing fastballs down they'll swing at. But you just have to be careful. Some people don't swing at basically anything outside the strike zone, and then that's when you run into problems. But that's why those players are like the best players, because they can see that and they know that when they see a good ball, it's going to be in the strike zone. So going back to, I guess, how to pitch a player online and CPU, they pretty much act the same. CPU obviously easier to get out, I feel like, than a human player, but you kind of have to just read the situation, read what the computer player is doing, read what the real person's doing, and figure out what they're trying to do. To kind of break down a whole pitch selection, pay attention to how they actually pitch in the MLB. Obviously, your X pitch right here, four-seam fastball. Not all the time is it a fastball, but this is usually your best pitch and your best, I guess, selection as a pitch, your most common thrown pitch. So the batter is going to be expecting this pitch more often than any other pitch. Now, you kind of have to use that to your advantage. You can either not use it as much if it's like a fastball and he has a bunch of breaking balls. Maybe it's something you don't use as much. Or if you have a bunch of fastballs, maybe you don't use it because you're using kind of other forms of fastballs, like a two-seam, like a sinker, something like that. But you just kind of have to mix and match. Obviously, don't go with the same pitch over and over and over again. You're probably not going to throw a slider or a breaking ball up in the zone. The reason why is because higher in the zone is going to look better for the hitter. And the slower the pitch, the more he can size it up and hit it in the right place. Usually the breaking balls you're using as a strikeout pitch or kind of a see if they'll chase pitch or try to get a ground out. If you throw like a slider down and in, if you're trying to get a ground out. But you never really want to throw sliders or curveballs or anything high because it just sets up there and they're going to most likely hit it. If not a home run, they're going to definitely hit it for a single or a double at least. The next thing you want to do is change the eye level and the distance. And what I mean by that You're not going to throw, usually you can, because it's all about, you know, what they're hitting, what they feel like hitting. But you're never going to really throw pitches up all the time. You're not going to throw like 4 or 5 pitches up in the zone, because then the batter's going to get used to it and they're going to hit it, and you're going to be basically screwed. So you're not going to keep throwing these pitches all up in the zone, because the batter's going to get used to it and he's going to hit them. What you need to do is change the eye level of the hitter. That means throw a couple balls up, or throw 1 ball up, and then start throwing down in the zone. And what that's doing is not letting a player lock in on a zone up here. What that's doing is kind of setting them up, saying, okay, you know, you're hitting up here, right? You're hitting up here. Okay, well, now try to hit this one down. And they're like, oh, whoa, they weren't expecting that. So that's how you're changing the eye level of the hitter. You're throwing balls up, you're throwing them down, you're throwing different pitches. And what I like to do is set pitchers up in a pitch selection. Before I even throw the first pitch, I will say, I want to strike him out this way. And so I pitch that way. So I want to strike this guy out with a 4-seam high and inside, or a slider down and inside. So now I think, you know, this is, I mean, I wouldn't say this is super advanced, but this is something that if you've ever been a pitcher, you kind of think about when you're on the mound. So say this pitcher really struggles at pitches high and inside, right? He's not very good at hitting high and inside pitches. So that's going to be something we want to take advantage of. And whether it be to get a strike over on him and see if he can hit it, or whether it be a strikeout pitch. So say we want to throw this guy a high and inside fastball for the strikeout. If not, maybe a slider down and in. So we're going to start with a changeup down and outside. So what this is showing the batter, it goes in the middle for a strike. What it shows him is we're starting soft away. Now might be a chance that we go inside with a 2-seam fastball down and inside. We're changing the level of the eyes of the batter. So now he's seeing down, down. So now maybe we trick him and go with another down, but maybe we go with a 2-seam high and outside. Throw that pitch, doesn't go for it. Maybe we try a changeup down and outside before we're leaving kind of the middle of we're leaving the inside of the plate open right now, because that's where we're going to come with the strikeout. So we're wanting him to be looking mid and outside with changeups down and out, and fastballs out and up. Now we're going to hit him with a fastball 4-seam inside. Boom, strikeout there. He did not see the 4-seam before that pitch. And that's just how you set batters up. You set them up to be looking or thinking something, and then hit them with what they're not. But you also have to play devil's advocate and do stuff that they might be thinking, because they're starting to catch on to you that if you don't throw a slider for the first 2 strikes, that the next pitch is going to be a slider. So then they're waiting on it. So maybe you throw with the 4-seam. It's all a head game. But just look online. You can even look on other online videos. They will kind of show you how to set up a hitter. So let's hit him with a slider down to strike him out. So we're going to throw all these outside pitches, and, you know, throw all these fastballs that are outside, try to hit it. Okay, now we got 2 strikes on this guy. So now he's seeing fastballs out. Maybe we even do another high outside fastball, see if he chases, and he fouls that one off. So he's had 3 pitches on the outside. You can see those 3 pitches there. And now we're going to hit him with a breaking ball down and in. Try to change the level of the eyes, and the pitch is slower than the other fastballs. Just like that, he grounds out. Think of the pitch selection you're going to do and what you want, I guess, the strikeout to be, and then work backwards. So just something to think about when you're doing the actual pick selection itself. You want to decide kind of how you want to set this batter up. You need to kind of understand baseball. This guy is a pull hitter. Obviously, you could see, because our defense is pushed that way, is overloaded on that right side. So that's telling me this guy's a huge pull hitter, which is also telling me that I want to kind of pitch on the inside here to try to get him to go to that shift. So we're going to throw a lot of pitches inside, but you do have to realize that slower pitches are most likely pitches that he's going to pull. So this will be a better chance to throw slower pitches to him. So throw this changeup down and in, throw this, slider, stuff like that, because boom, just like that, right into the shift, even though it's the center field. That's just how you have to pitch each hitter. You have to understand where your defense is at, and as you play, you'll understand it more. So this guy is more of a hitter all around the park, so we can kind of really throw him wherever we want. You just have to set up the pitch selection however you want it. So those are my tips for pitching and how to pitch better in Diamond Dynasty, March to October, whatever you're playing. These tips will help you pitch better. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Also, feel free to hit that red subscribe button. Don't forget that I do stream on Twitch and YouTube every Tuesday, Thursday, and most weekends at 7 p.m. Eastern. So make sure you guys check those out. They'll be linked in the description below. Go ahead and check me out while live streaming. Come by the chat, hang out. I'd love to see you all there. Until next time, Blacker out.